Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you're having an amazing day. Sorry I'm not on camera for today's video, but I was finishing off, and it's actually uploaded today, Native Resolution is Dead, so I'm pretty proud of that video, so you can check it out. I'll link it in the video description. And also I'm working on photography for an upcoming review, and yeah, things are just kind of crazy at the moment. So with that said though, we've got a ton of stuff to get through, and the first thing I'd like to begin with actually is AIC Big Navi, or to put it another way, the custom RX 6000 series as regarding the stock. Now, this information I'm about to tell you is actually contrary to what information I got from another source. In the UK anyway, I'm told that the actual stock for the custom cards is, quote, terrible. But what's strange about this is that one of my other sources who has been very accurate with AMD stuff had told me that the stock for the non-reference cards, the custom cards, was actually better. So it's kind of conflicting information. So the possibility is one of these two sources is wrong, or one of my sources who's telling me that the stock is better is more focused on the US market, and this person more knows about the UK markets. Make of that as you will. My advice is the standard typical affair if you want to buy one of these products and launch. First things first, make sure, that you are signed in before the announcement, before the product goes live, to whatever retailers you're trying to get the product from, because obviously if you need to reset your password or put in, credit card details or whatever, that can be the difference between you not getting a card and you smiling really big. The other obvious thing is to make certain that you pay attention to stock announcements, especially for your local area, of when those cards are going to go live. And I would also suggest that you cross your fingers as well. Hopefully it's not as bad as what this source is telling me, and that the shortages are slightly overblown. Again, one of my other sources told me that the custom cards are going to be more plentiful, and it does seem that the stock is going to quickly be replenished. What I'm hearing is that by the end of this year, certainly early next year, RX 6000 series is going to not be easy to get by any stretch of the imagination, simply because of the demand, but it won't be like trying to find gold dust just walking down the street. I want to stick to AMD for just one more moment, because there's a tool, or rather BIOS update, which I suspect many of you are going to find extremely interesting for the Ryzen 5000 series. Unfortunately, this does not apply for Ryzen 3000 because of some of the architectural differences between the two architectures, but this is going to be very interesting for those who are going to purchase or have purchased Zen 3. And it all comes down to a new AGESA update, and it's 1180. So this new curve optimization tool really allows you to fully maximize the performance of your Zen 3 class processor. So you can undervolt and really tweak it to get the most out of it. Of course, no processors are alike, as this particular slide states. Some processors have more undervolting headroom, some have less. More headroom when the processor load is low. Typical undervolting only optimizes, quote, worst case workloads. Curve Optimizer allows undervolting that can adapt both to light and heavy workloads, and also tells the firmware what window of undervolting is desired by the user relative to the operating conditions. Long story short, this curve optimizer is enabled through BIOS to begin with, but it will eventually see an update for Ryzen Master. This is going to take place early next year, and this will allow you, of course, to tweak things within Windows. According to AMD's own numbers, and again, I stress this will depend heavily upon the processor that you have. It seems that more CCDs typically will probably benefit slightly more for this, but about 2% on single thread performance can be achieved, or up to 10%. That would be for a 5900X. So that's actually really good, and definitely means that I think 5 GHz could be quite achievable for many processors. Real quick, for Rocket Link S, WCCF Tech have an exclusive, and they're stating that in March 2021, we will see Rocket Lake launch. This is exactly within the same time window that I've mentioned a couple of times on the channel. I said that it was Q1, but my sources were telling me it was going to be late February, most likely March. And of course, this is based on a backport of Sunny Cove. So it's on the 14nm and tons of pluses here architecture, or rather node, and the architecture that Intel are calling this is Cypress Cove. So again, it's based on Sunny Cove, but they're calling this backport Cypress Cove. It also features things such as PCIe 4, also Intel Xe 12 generation graphics, and there are numerous other architectural improvements as well, which aren't just the IPC gains. So we have integrated USB 3.2, 2x2, the Intel 500 chipset. We're not quite sure exactly how it functions versus the Z490 exactly, because Intel are stating that there are improvements in overclocking features and capabilities. So what features will be available on the 400 series boards? So for example, if you have like a 10900K and you want to upgrade to one of these, what features you're going to miss out on versus if you were to also plonk in a 500 series board. But at the very least, you can use your existing motherboard. The only downside to these processors is that they seem to be rather power hungry, which leads to the inevitable problem of core count. These can only go up to 8 cores, 16 threads, although overclocking is said to be really good, like way over 5 gigahertz. We're seeing actually some reports of like 5.5, 5.6 gigahertz, which is kind of nuts. Again, that's if those leaks are accurate. And the early reports are really positive in terms of IPC gain. Intel are calling it, quote, double digits, but I'm more hearing like 10 to 15%. I don't think it's going to be quite 20% because it's only based on Ice Lake, not one of the later architectures. But still, it's definitely a positive for Intel, especially if they can really get those clock frequencies up. I think Intel will wrangle the gaming crown from AMD, but will it matter? Well, of course, it depends on A, pricing, B, the performance across multiple other applications, and C, other things such as temperatures and what you actually really want out of a processor. It's going to be quite a while, I think, before Intel are able to have an architecture out there which is going to be able to just be competitive in everything. But this is at least something, a step in the right direction for those who only want gaming. And I guess we might as well finish off with Nvidia, as they actually have had their RTX 3060 Ti specifications confirmed, and this is actually thanks to one of their AIB partners, Manly. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, so please correct me in the comments below. Either way, the RTX 3060 Ti, according to this confirmation, features 4864 CUDA cores. So that's identical to the number that we've been hearing for quite a while now, and also utilizes the GA104-200 GPU. Now, so far the rumor is that this is going to cost $399 US. I don't think a higher price point is going to be what Nvidia will aim for, because there's like even going to, let's say, 409 or $420. There's like that magical barrier between each $100 you're creeping up. I would love for them to charge like $349 for this, and again I'm stressing US dollars, like $349 US would be incredible, but we are still looking at 256-bit memory interface with 8 gigabytes of memory, and according to this leak here, it's still hitting 448 gigabytes per second of bandwidth, so that's of course 14 Gbps. What is new though is that we have information concerning the TDP and the clock frequencies. 1410 MHz for the base frequency and 1665 for the boost. Honestly, this card looks to be really impressive. I don't suspect it's going to be that much slower than an RTX 3070, so the 3060 Ti could actually be the MVP out of the Ampere lineup, much like the RX 6700 series that we discussed a day or two ago. The 6700 series, of course, has 12 gigabytes of memory and 192-bit bus, along with still sporting the Infinity cache. It looks like the IC is going to just be 64 megabytes for the 6700 series. And I'm sure you will agree that there's an awful lot of potential here for people who don't have massive budgets. Like, upsampling technology is going to come, of course, to AMD's GPUs pretty soon, thanks to Fidelity FX super sampling. And naturally, it's part of DLSS as well. And I feel that while DLSS is all in all for high-end cards, I do believe that the mid-range and lower end are what really will benefit from this technology. Personally, I'm super excited to see what cards like the 3060 Ti, the 6700 series are going to be able to bring to the table, because ultimately those are the products that I know don't necessarily get the most press attention, but it's also a lot more palatable to purchase one of these GPUs versus, I don't know, picking up a 3090 or something like that. So I think one of these cards is going to be really cool. Obviously stick with us, and when the specifications and the performance are officially revealed, well, we can do a merry jig and a dance. But I think that's just about it for this particular video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. With that said, if you have, of course, like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.